Good evening. Glad to have you back on California Today. I'm David Lamb. Here's a preview of some of today's top stories. Now, as the search and rescue efforts to find the missing Titan sub reach a major update today, reports now show that experts had already raised safety concerns about the vessel back in 2018. The 8-day trial on John Eastman's disbarment case has now entered day 3. NTD spoke to Eastman himself to hear more on his side of the story. And the U.S. House of Representatives have voted to censure Congressman Adam Schiff. We'll have more on why and what this means for the congressman. First, a major update in the search for the missing Titanic tourist submarine. The U.S. Coast Guard found a debris field believed to be from the vessel earlier today. But tragically, all crew on board are presumed dead.
The U.S. Coast Guard announced Thursday they found a debris field near the wreckage of the Titanic. Experts determined that the debris is consistent with the Titan submersible that went missing on Sunday.
This morning, an ROV, or remote operated vehicle, from the vessel Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor.
The Coast Guard says they believe the vessel experienced a catastrophic implosion, and they are still working out the exact timeline of what happened to it. Officials noted their listening devices didn't detect any explosive event in the water throughout the search. The noises they did detect were unrelated.
But there doesn't appear to be any connection between the noises and the location on the seafloor. Again, this was a catastrophic implosion of the vessel, which would have generated a significant broadband sound down there that the sonar buoys would have picked up.
The Coast Guard notified the families of the 5 passengers on board and offered their condolences. It's unclear if or when their bodies can be recovered.
This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor, and the debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. And so we'll continue to work and continue to search the area down there, but I don't have an answer for prospects at this time.
In a statement Thursday, OceanGate, which is the company behind the submersible, said they believe the 5 passengers have, quote, sadly been lost. They are OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman Dawood, Hamish Harding, and Paul-Henri Narjolet. In the next 24 hours, authorities will begin to demobilize the medical personnel and vessels involved in the search. But remote operations will continue on the sea floor. The U.S. Coast Guard will release future updates on their Twitter page. Reporting by Allison Lee, NTD News.
Now, 3 of the 5 crew members on the Titan sub have ties to California. They are Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman Dawood, and OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush. And more on the submarine, experts are now saying they have raised concerns about the Titan since 2018. The vessel did not go through a standard certification process.
Experts raised safety concerns back in 2018 about the submersible vessel that has been missing since Sunday, when it descended with tourists on a deep ocean journey to view the Titanic wreckage. Will Conan, chairman of the Marine Technology Society's Committee on Manned Submersibles, addressed a letter dated March 27, 2018 to OceanGate founder and CEO Stockton Rush, who is piloting the missing vehicle. In the letter, Conan expressed what he said were widespread concerns about the Titan.
In the very, very deep submersibles like the Titan, 4,000 meters deep, there are only 10 vehicles in the whole world that can go 4,000 meters or deeper, and all of them are certified except the Titan. So it is an outlier. Experts in the industry at the conference voiced concern, what are we going to do? This is very risky. We understand the strategy, but it is very risky for everybody.
Conan said the letter came about after many submersible experts voiced concerns over the Titan during a 3-day annual symposium. He said he asked the MTS board to send the letter on behalf of the entire society, but the board declined. The issue was not any single design flaw, but that OceanGate chose not to pursue the industry's recognized certification process.
It was not certified, so it had no oversight during design, fabrication, and testing. Right? So it's self-certifying, in what you call experimental. And is there room for experimental? Yes. To take people down? No. Right? If it's experimental, you should not be taking people down.
OceanGate opted against certifying the Titan through third parties such as the American Bureau of Shipping or the European group DNV.
Because there are rules about the controllers, what they have to withstand, how they have to be built, how they're tested, how they're installed. And if you put them through the rigors of the test per the regulations, whether it's a $1,000 joystick or a little one, and it's passing through the tests of the regulatory agencies, and they say, yep, you're good.
Conan added that it took a long time to find the Titanic, even though it is so big. So in context of the tiny Titan, it's like finding a pixel in the vast ocean. The pilot and 4 passengers are aboard, and the available oxygen on the vehicle has been forecast to run out Thursday. The U.S. Coast Guard said all 5 are believed to have died in an implosion after the loss of the pressure chamber.
Following his second day of hearings, Donald Trump's former attorney, John Eastman, is speaking out about the multiple charges that he's being accused of by the State Bar Court of California. Here's Entity's Christina Corona, who had an opportunity to talk with Eastman himself following yesterday's court hearing.
Mr. Eastman, for our viewers who don't know exactly what's going on with your case, what is the California State Bar accusing you of?
Well, they're accusing me of not upholding my oath to support the Constitution of the United States, which is, I think, rather interesting, since all of my efforts have been to make sure that unconstitutional conduct in the election did not affect the outcome of the election. They also claim I made a bunch of false statements because I insisted that there was election illegality, and I did that in articles. I did it on Steve Bannon's show, and I did it in briefs filed in a couple of court actions.
Do you feel as though the State Bar is setting a precedent by trying to suspend your license or disbar you?
Well, I think it's a very dangerous precedent. I've said that before. My attorney has said that. Even some folks left of center who are by no means Trump supporters are starting to realize the danger here. I think it's captured well by the head of the 65 Project, which is an organization that is trying to disbar any attorney that worked on any of the Trump election litigation. So right-wing legal talent will never take on election challenges again. That means that if there is fraud and illegality in the conduct of elections, people will be afraid to step up to challenge it for fear that they would have to go through what I've been going through.
And with regard to the charges brought against you, in your estimation, have you done anything wrong?
No, not at all. And all I asked Vice President Pence to do was accede to requests from state legislators to send it back to them, give a brief pause so that they can investigate whether the illegality was significant enough that affected the outcome. And if it didn't, I have in the memo, if it didn't, then Biden is recertified and Biden wins.
Do you really think the State Bar has a case, or is this some kind of political agenda?
Well, I don't think they have a case. They did a 38-page, 85-paragraph, 11-count complaint against me. We responded fulsomely. My response is 112 pages.
You provided counsel to President Trump in 2020 to assist him furthering his cause. Does he have your back today?
No, we haven't spoken much at all since 2021, but not because of any controversy or anything. Just it's prudent to kind of keep a little bit arm's length.
If this hearing doesn't pan out in your favor, what's next? The California State Bar decision to it would go to a higher court, I'm assuming.
And then if that doesn't go well, I have the right to appeal to the California Supreme Court.
And finally, what do you want the viewers to know about you and your case? Are there any final thoughts that you would like to share with us?
My whole life has been devoted to the Constitution, and when we're deciding an election by unconstitutional conduct, I thought something needed to be done about it, and I stood up to do that.
Yes, I'm Christina Corona, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to do this interview with us this evening.
Christina, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
The House yesterday voted to censure California Congressman Adam Schiff, former chair of the House Intelligence Committee. The measure centered around his role in the Trump-Russia investigation. Here are the details.
On this vote, the yeas are 213 and the nays are 209. With 6 answering present, the resolution adopted. Without objection, the motion to consider is laid on the table.
A resolution to censure Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff passed along party lines on Wednesday. 6 Republicans voted present. The measure condemned Schiff for perpetuating the notion there was collusion between Donald Trump's 2016 campaign and Russia, an accusation that has since been debunked.
The House of Representatives censures Adam Schiff, representative of the 30th Congressional District of California, for misleading the American public, and for conduct unbecoming of an elected member of the House of Representatives.
The revised resolution removed a $16 million fine against Schiff, which is half of the taxpayer cost of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. Schiff is now referred to the House Ethics Committee for investigation. Chaos erupted on the House floor as Democrats contested the vote. Some Democrats gathered around Schiff in a show of solidarity. Schiff reacted by calling the censure a badge of honor.
To my Republican colleagues who introduced this resolution, I thank you. You honor me with your enmity. You flatter me with this falsehood. You, who are the authors of a big lie about the last election, must condemn the truth tellers, and I stand proudly before you.
House will be in order.
A censure resolution is a punitive action that can be undertaken by the House to discipline members for actions that fall short of grounds for expulsion. Schiff is the 25th member of the House to be censured in American history.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. An update on the synthetic opioid crisis. In the South Bay area, officials say fentanyl-related deaths have more than doubled in recent months. The race for private companies to send the first commercial payload to Mars is on. 2 California companies say they are ready to take on SpaceX. Those stories and much more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Lamb. Fentanyl-related deaths are not just an issue in San Francisco. 60 miles south in the county of Santa Clara, officials announced that fentanyl deaths have more than doubled by the end of May. Here in Santa Clara County, which is the 6th most populous county in California, officials recently announced a spike in fentanyl drug-related deaths, which went from 17 to 41 in the month of May.
The county coroner and chief medical examiner said most fentanyl drug deaths in the county involve fentanyl combined with other drugs, including methamphetamine. Officials continue to warn of fentanyl-laced pills circulating in the community, as a portion of victims have unknowingly ingested the drug, thinking they're taking something else. The county has launched campaigns to educate the public on fentanyl and the risks of experimental drug use, with the latest campaign aimed at 14 to 29-year-olds. According to the county's website, fentfacts.org, fentanyl is involved in 4 out of 5 Gen Z drug deaths nationwide.
This is different than drug deaths that we've seen in years past. My daughter, nor the children of the other parents up here, they didn't die of an overdose.
Family members of those that died from fentanyl poisoning have demanded statewide action from elected officials.
They were poisoned. In my daughter's case, she was seeking Percocet. She received a counterfeit pill made to mimic an oxycodone pill, of which she took half before going to bed 2 days before Christmas in 2019.
The opioid is used to treat severe pain, but it's 50 times stronger than heroin, and a small dosage can be fatal. California lawmakers have been divided on how to decrease drug deaths, such as whether to focus on increasing punishment for drug dealers or put efforts into prevention services.
From the Foreign Relations Committee on June 20th, U.S. Democratic Senator Bob Menendez introduced the Strengthening Fentanyl Sanctions Act. It would target Chinese PRC pharmaceutical companies, Mexican drug cartels, as well as foreign individuals involved in global drug trade. In Santa Clara, California, David Lamb, NTD News. For over half a century, missions to Mars have been mostly funded and operated by state-backed aerospace agencies of different countries. But now the race is on for private companies to deliver the first commercial payload to the red planet. 2 Southern California space companies are among those who want to take on SpaceX.
California-based Impulse Space and Relativity Space jointly announced at the 2023 Humans to Mars Summit that the timeline trajectory for their private Mars mission has changed. They're now expecting to launch sometime in 2026. If successful, they will still beat out SpaceX in the race for private companies to send interplanetary missions to Mars.
We settled on the Mars mission. We could have gone to the moon, and certainly there are others doing that, but the Mars one is somewhat unique. Secondly, we aren't reinventing the wheel in the sense that this mission is very much akin to what was done by NASA for the InSight mission.
According to Impulse Space website, the plan is for the company's capsule and Mars lander to be carried by Relativity Space 3D printed Terran R rocket.
Flying this 3D printed rocket is going to be a huge milestone for Relativity. I'm quite convinced this is the biggest 3D printed object really ever flown in aerospace.
After traveling through space for over half a year, the cruise vehicle will inject the entry capsule into the Mars orbit. The lander will then perform a propulsive landing using purpose-built engines developed in-house at Impulse Space. This would complete the first commercial payload delivery to the surface of Mars. Both companies emphasize that the mission is just to deliver commercial payloads, not humans. As to the burning question on everybody's mind, when we'll be able to put humans on Mars?
There's a fair amount of infrastructure and study that needs to be done before humans go to Mars. And we are going to enable that, but that says we're going to be doing several missions in every window, 26, 28, 31 roughly. So it may take beyond that to get humans to Mars.
The companies believe that they can deliver the payload at lower cost and on a quicker turnaround than NASA.
We do it relatively economically compared to what governments would have to charge, and do it so that it can also be repeated so people can think about Mars on a schedule. Not, here's a mission, it's going to be a once in 10-year, 15-year time frame, but that they actually can predict their schedules.
In the commercial competition going to Mars, SpaceX, Boeing, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic have all stated or expressed interest in leading expeditions to the fourth planet in our solar system. Meanwhile, NASA and the China National Space Administration are in a tacit race to put humans on Mars.
The newest search attempt to find English actor Julian Sands has wound up fruitless. Sands went missing on California's Mount Baldy back in January when severe winter storms covered the LA mountains.
An extensive search over the weekend for actor Julian Sands has ended with no conclusive results. The search centered around Mount Baldy, a mountain over 10,000 feet in elevation where Sands was hiking. Over 80 volunteers and deputies and 2 helicopters and drones were deployed, but the search was cut short by unfavorable weather conditions on the mountain. The actor has been missing since the beginning of this year. At the time, search and rescue efforts could not be carried out due to the stormy winter weather. The most recent search was prompted by the melting snow and receding winter. However, the environment remained unfavorable due to alpine conditions, including over 10 feet of ice and snow. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says they have conducted 8 searches so far for Sands. Sands was known for his involvement in movies including Arachnophobia, A Room Without a View, and Warlock.
Also in Southern California, the Los Angeles City Council unanimously elected a new president pro tempore. He replaces a council member who was charged with crimes last week.
The Los Angeles City Council voted 12-0 on Tuesday in favor of appointing council member Marquise Harris Dawson as president pro tempore of the Los Angeles City Council. He replaces Kern Price, who stepped down from the position last week after being charged with embezzlement, perjury, and conflict of interest. In a social media post, Harris Dawson said, "Anything from now on must build public trust and be aligned with the morals of those we represent." Harris Dawson is a council member serving the 8th District of Los Angeles and chairs the city's Planning, Land Use, and Management Committee.
Now we're going to check in with NTD's Tyler Castillo for a sports roundup.
Let's dive into the sports roundup for today. I'm Tyler Castillo.
According to Adrian Wojnarowski, the Golden State Warriors are expected to trade Jordan Poole, along with some draft picks to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Chris Paul. Sources have said that the Warriors are sending a 2030 protected top 20 first-round pick and a 2027 second-round pick to the Wizards. The San Jose Sharks have uploaded a new short video teasing what appears to be a new role for Patrick Marleau on their social media. The video was captioned with, quote, 26 years ago today, the San Jose Sharks drafted Patrick Marleau. Marleau's new era with the Sharks begins soon. The video itself shows some of the jerseys that Patrick Marleau has worn throughout his career, including an all-star jersey, but the one outfit that is teased is a suit. This led fans to speculate that the Sharks are potentially teasing Patrick Marleau will have a front office job for the organization. Jock Peterson, Mike Yastrzemski, and J.D. Davis drove consecutive run-scoring singles in a 4-run 5th inning, and San Francisco, after 2 straight walk-off wins, took the front-running route and beat the visiting San Diego Padres again. Serving as an opener for the second time in 3 nights, Ryan Walker led a parade of 6 Giants pitchers to the mound in an 8-hit effort that produced San Francisco's 10th straight win. Giants 4, Padres 2. 7 Dodgers relievers combined to throw a 2-hit shutout, outpitching the Angels' Shohei Ohtani as the Dodgers swept the 2-game series in Anaheim, California. Ohtani struck out 12 batters in 7 innings, but allowed a solo home run to Freddie Freeman in the 4th inning, which was the only run he allowed in the game. Dodgers shortstop Miguel Vargas was hitless in 24 at-bats when he came to the plate at the 8th inning and hit a home run off Angels reliever Aaron Loup for a 2-0 lead. Dodgers 2, Angels 0.
And that is all for the sports roundup for today. I'm Tyler Castillo, back to you.
Thanks, Tyler. That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like for you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. You can send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ganjing World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Lamb. Have a wonderful evening.